Hello everyone. I figured I'd take advantage of the beautiful day and share some yoga with you. So this is going to be a perinatal class, so it's good for those of you who are expecting and those of you who recently gave birth or even not so recently gave birth. So when you're ready, you can join me on your mat. Today you will want a block with you and maybe a cushion or a bolster. And if you would like to take a little bit of height underneath your hips, you can bring something underneath them now. And we'll get started. So once you found a comfortable position on the mat, seated position, either cross-legged or you can send the legs out straight, we're going to start with closing the eyes and just noticing the breath. How it naturally travels through the body without you changing anything, just starting to pay attention and get curious. Allowing the shoulders to relax down away from the ears. Your head is stacked above your heart, and the heart is stacked above the hips. Maybe lengthening up through the top of the head slightly. You can invite in an intention if you would like to now for the class. So anything you like. It could be a word, a mantra. It could be even just a feeling that you want to infuse the class with. You can bring that in now. And then allowing your exhales to be longer than your inhales. So inviting in the calming breath. Focusing on nice, long, complete exhales without straining. Option to bring the palms to belly, especially if you're expecting. And this can help invite baby into the practice with you as well. Feeling the belly push the palms away from you as you inhale, and the palms slowly start to come closer towards the spine as you exhale. Keeping this breath with you for the rest of the practice. We can bring the palms to the thighs if they aren't already there. And we'll start to bring in some neck circles, or head circles. So tracing circles with the top of the head, going in one direction. Nice and slowly. Releasing any tension through the neck and the shoulders. And then when you're ready, we'll switch directions, so circling in the other direction. Keeping the calming breath with you here, concentrating on complete exhales. And then slowly coming to an end, bringing the head up to center, above the shoulders. And we'll do some shoulder shrugs. So inhale, bring the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Exhale, bring them down and back. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Last one. All right, we're going to come onto all fours. So when you're ready, make your way to hands and knees. Palms underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You can tuck the toes under here if you like behind you, or you can keep the shoelaces of the feet flat on the ground. Spread the fingers wide. Slight bend through the elbows to take some of the pressure off the wrists. And then if you are pregnant, see if you can find those corset muscles. Actually, even if you are not pregnant, find those corset muscles, the ones that wrap from the spine all the way around either side of your waist to the center line. Okay, so if you're pregnant, just a tiny little engagement here to protect the lower back as we come into our cow pose. If you aren't pregnant, then feel free to engage as much as feels comfortable. All right, so as you inhale, open the chest, gentle hugging onto baby with the abdominal muscles, with those corset muscles, tailbone up towards the sky, lengthening from the pubic bone all the way up to the neck. And then as you exhale, tuck the chin, push the spine away from you, tucking the tailbone under, rounding. Again, inhale, coming forward, matching the movement to the breath. And then exhale, pushing it back. We'll do this 2 more times. Feel free to take any variation or any movements that feel good for you. And when you're ready, we'll come back to a neutral spine. So once you're on all fours, we're going to stabilize through the core again. So a gentle hugging onto baby just to protect that lower back, and then extend the back, the right leg behind you. So you can keep the toes tucked under if you like. And rock back into the heel. So creating some length through the back of the right leg. So this is especially good if you've been noticing you've been having some leg cramps. This can help. Okay, and then when you're ready, rock the weight back into those palms and slowly float the right foot up off the ground, keeping the foot in line with the hips. Option here, if you want to, extend the opposite arm, so the left arm towards the front. Fingers are reaching away from you while your heel is reaching away from you, so pulling in opposite directions. And then slowly lower down. Take a break, maybe take a little counter stretch to the wrist, the right wrist. You can even sit back on the heels and shake them out. And we'll go to the other side. So when you're ready, we're going to extend the left leg behind you, maybe tuck the toes under, and rock back into the left heel, stretching through the back of the left leg. Keeping that calming breath here with you. And if you lose that calming breath, that's fine. Just remember to keep breathing, especially in pregnancy. Don't hold the breath. And then when you're ready, rock forward so the weight is evenly distributed between the palms and that right kneecap. Engage the core slightly if you're pregnant, and just lift, float that back foot up off the ground. So keeping it here, or again, option to extend the right arm. Reaching as far forward as you can comfortably with the right fingers and kicking that left heel back away from you. Breathe. And then releasing the palm and the kneecap back down to the mat. Shake it out, take a counter stretch, do whatever you need to do to release here. Okay. We're going to take a child's pose. So send the knees wide, big toes can touch behind you, and then slowly lower the upper body down towards the mat. Maybe you just make it down to the forearms, so that's fine. Maybe you can come all the way down, resting the hands or the forehead on the hands or on the mat. Come back to your breath. Come back to your intention if you set one. And allow the back body to soften. And we're going to create a little more length through the side body here by Planting the elbows on the ground if they can comfortably make it there. If not, feel free to stay in the child's pose of your choice. And then bringing the palms to meet, creating a little shark fin over top of your head. Maybe walking the elbows forward as you sit back further towards those heels. One more breath here. Release the hands down. Bring the knees together. Do a little side-to-side movement with the hips just to release. And we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So tuck the toes under behind you. Fingers spread wide on the mat. A little bend, micro bend through the elbows is always good to take some of the pressure off the wrists. And then we'll bend through one knee at a time. Take the feet wide if need be, especially if you're pregnant, just to make room for baby. And then when you're ready, sit the hips back and up towards the sky, lengthening through the entire back body. So from the hips down to the palms, and then in the opposite direction from the hips down to the heels. Always an option to keep the knees bent here. Next, inhale, gaze goes forward. And then as you exhale, slowly walk the feet about halfway or just over halfway up the mat. And then we're going to sit back deep behind us. So send your hips back behind you, fingertips maybe to the ground, or your forearms can come rest on your thighs, taking a little squat. Resetting, especially if you're pregnant, it's important to allow the blood flow to return to normal when you're coming out of an inversion. And then when you're ready, use the power in the legs, pushing against the ground to rise you up to standing. Okay. So if you're pregnant, take a nice wide stance. If you're not pregnant, you can bring the feet together, so whatever feels good for you. And we're going to do some warm-ups here, half flow. Bring the hands to heart center, recenter. Nice big inhale together. And release through an open mouth. One more time. Inhale together. And let it go. Next, inhale, swoop the arms up overhead. Gaze can go up if it feels good. And then exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips, maybe bending through the knees, taking the feet as wide as you need to comfortably into your forward fold. Maybe your forward fold is only about halfway down and your forearms come to your thighs. Find what feels good. Inhale, halfway lift, extend the spine, maybe the fingertips rest on the shins. Exhale to fold, let all the air out. Inhale, rise up to standing. Exhale, seal it in center. 2 more times. Inhale, swoop the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, whatever that looks like for you today. Inhale, halfway lift, extend the spine forward. And then exhale to fold. Inhale, swoop the arms all the way up to standing. And then exhale, seal it in center. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, let all the air out of the lungs. And then inhale all the way back up to standing. And then exhale, seal it back in center. Perfect. So come to the top of the mat, bring the feet about hips distance apart, and we're just going to take a step back with that right foot. So coming into a high lunge. So if this feels like there's too much pressure happening on the pelvic floor or just doesn't feel right, feel free to modify, maybe shortening the stance and coming into flattening the back foot on the ground instead. All right. And when you're ready, send the arms up overhead, square the hips to the front of the mat. Make sure the front knee is not going past the front ankle. It's stacked right above it or slightly behind it. Maybe even interlacing the fingers behind you, opening through the chest. and then release that bind, sending the arms overhead. Option to stay here if this feels good, or if you want a little more of a challenge as you exhale, take a little knee dip with that right knee down towards the mat. Inhale, rise up. We're going to do 2 more of those if you want. Exhale, knee dip. Inhale, rise up. Last one, exhale. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Plant the back foot, open into your warrior 2. So the front knee is bent. The back toes are facing towards the long side of the mat. Hips are in line with each other. And your front body is opening towards the long edge of the mat. Gaze can go past the front middle finger. Relax the shoulders down. And notice if that front kneecap is trying to cave in. If so, dial it back out. All right, and then bring the hands to heart center. We're going to straighten both legs, point the toes so that they both are pointing towards the long edge of the mat. Inhale, arms up. And then exhale, sink down into your goddess squat. I'm going to turn towards you just so you can have a better visual of what this looks like. So you do want your knees to be over those ankles. The knees are tracking in the same direction the toes are pointing. Hips are coming down towards the ground. Option to do a little bit of a bob here to add some movement to make it a little bit easier, a little more tolerable. And then inhale, rise up. Straighten the legs, send the arms overhead, and then exhale, sit down one more time. Creating some heat in the body, working those legs, working on that stamina. Inhale, rise up. Perfect. Exhale, seal it in center. And then we're going to turn to the front of the mat, step forward, ground through the feet, and we'll go to the other side. So when you're ready, send the left leg back behind you. High lunge, or you can take a planted version with that back foot. Inhale, send the arms up overhead. Hips are facing the front edge of the mat. Make sure that front knee is stacked over the front ankle. Option to take the bind. Interlace the fingers in the opposite way this time behind you. Roll the shoulders open, open through that chest. And then when you're ready, release. Arms can go overhead, and then knee dips time if you want to take this. So inhale, and then exhale, sink it down with a knee dip. Inhale to rise up, and exhale, sink it down. One more time. Exhale. Inhale to rise up, and exhale, hands to heart center. Plant the back foot flat on the ground. Toes are pointing towards the long edge. Find your warrior 2. So same thing here, hips are in line with each other, front of the body's facing the long edge of the mat, shoulders are releasing down away from those ears, fingers are stretching away from each other. The front knee is opening away from the midline of the body. Gaze can go past the front middle finger, breathing deeply here. And then hands to heart center as we come into our goddess pose again. So I'll face towards you again this time. So sinking down into your squat. This time bring the palms to the thighs. I like to have it so that my thumbs are on the inside, fingers around the outside. Inhale, lengthen up through the chest. If you're pregnant, soften through the belly as you exhale and take a twist, dipping one shoulder down towards the center as you gaze up over the other shoulder. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, twist. One more when you're ready. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to rise up. Sink a little deeper if you want to. And then inhale, come all the way up. Perfect. Shake it out. And then we're going to come down to seated. So just come to a comfortable seated position on the mat. Bringing it down. We can send the legs wide, long, straight, and wide. Flex the toes so that they're flexing back towards you. And we're going to take the right hand to the right leg, slide that right hand down towards the ankle, left hand comes to the side body, and when you're ready, open through the left shoulder into a little bit of a twist as you side bend towards the right. So you should feel this right below that left palm in the side body somewhere. And if you're not feeling it, you can maybe reach peace fingers to the big toe, bend the elbow, bend that right elbow so it rests on this right leg, and find your bend here. Keep the breath flowing. Another option is to take the arm overhead. I'll slowly come out of this on an inhale, rise up. Maybe do a little twist from side to side, staying soft through the belly if you're pregnant. And then exhale, slide the left hand down towards the left ankle, right hand to the side body, lower back. Roll the right shoulder open as you side bend towards the left. Take the same variation here that you did on the other side. If it feels good, if it doesn't, then find what does. One more breath here. And when you're ready, slowly rising up. Again, taking a little twist from side to side. And then we can bring the pads of the feet together. You can bring them as close to you as you like. Maybe reaching or grabbing onto the ankles as you lift up through the chest. And as you exhale, maybe hinging at those hips as you come into a little bit of a forward fold. Option here to bring the thumbs between the feet and open them up towards you like a book. You can take some swaying movement from side to side with the upper body, whatever works for you. Anytime organic movement starts to come up, feel free to embrace it if it feels good. Maybe revisiting your intention if you set one. Relaxing the shoulders, maybe turning the head from side to side to help ease through the neck. One more breath here. Inhale, rise up. Plant the feet and just do a little side to side motion here. Planting the feet wide, knees coming in towards the midline. All right. And from here, actually, we will come up onto our knees. So if you have your block handy, you can bring that block beside you. So inhale, bring the arms up overhead. And then exhale, bring one hand to the block and then side bend in that direction. So for me, I'm side bending towards the right, creating space all the way through the left side body. And then inhale to rise up. You can switch the block to the other side. And exhale, side bend to the other side. Keeping the hips heavy, grounding you down to the earth. maybe opening through the top shoulder. You can always bend the elbow to allow the palm to cradle the head. We'll do this one more time on each side. So inhale to rise up, and exhale, side bend. Take the same variation you did on the first 2 times, or try something new. And we'll do one more time. So last time, inhale to rise up, and exhale to side bend. Inhale to rise up. Maybe interlace those fingers, push the palms away from you, and rise the arms up overhead, palms reaching up towards the sky, shoulders are relaxed down the back away from the ears. Gaze can go up if that feels good. A little back bend, and exhale, forward fold. Plant the palms, and we're just going to bring the feet over to one side so we can maybe roll over the shins and the knees to back to seated, or come to seated however you need to get there. And then this is where we're going to lay down for our Shavasana. So if you have your cushion handy, so a couple options here. If you're not pregnant, you can go ahead and lay down on your back and use the cushion underneath those knees. I'll give you a side view here to help support the lower back while you're lying flat. If you are pregnant, you can take this variation as well. Just be very mindful of how long you stay here, and if you notice any excess pressure or any sensations that maybe are little warning bells that you should roll to your side. Option number 2, if you're pregnant and you don't want to lay on your back, you can always use the bolster. As you come onto the side, you can straighten the bottom leg and bend the top leg and rest the top leg from the knee all the way down to the ankle on your pillow or bolster. Maybe bringing the palm to belly. So this is where you can come if you decided to lay on the back for a few moments in your relaxation pose. You can transition to the side lying pose for the last little bit of your Shavasana. And feel free to stay here for as long as you like, as long as you feel comfortable. And thank you for joining me for some yoga today. Namaste.